All right, welcome back to the From the Ground Up podcast. This is a podcast for Dow Smith Company's employees, clients, and friends. Dow Smith Company is a design builder here in sunny Smyrna, Tennessee, and we design and build churches, medical facilities, and commercial buildings. I'm Taylor Loyal, the host of From the Ground Up, and today we have Cody Abston.
Hey.
Now, Cody, I think, has the coolest job, maybe, definitely at Dow Smith Company, but maybe anywhere. He is a foreman slash life coach. And when I think of you, I think of like an El Camino, right? Like you're part car, part truck.
That's right.
100%
It's like
awesome.
A four-wheel mullet. That's what I am, man.
Yeah, sure. Good,
Yeah,
better
yeah.
Business in the front, party in the back.
That's right.
Yeah. So, so let's start there in our El Camino. You came here really, or when I met you, you were a foreman, and now you've taken on some life coaching responsibilities, which is really cool too. But start with just the foreman. Like, what brought you to Dow Smith Company? What were sort of your roles and responsibilities as a foreman? What the heck does a foreman even do?
Right. Well, when I hired in as a tech, and I was probably 2.5 years. I did that, just doing construction work, and that's what I've always done. So it was just before I came to work here, I was running a cabinet shop in Murfreesboro, looking for better opportunities. It's kind of what I've always been familiar with. I've just done it since I graduated high school. I had about 5 years I worked at Bridgestone and was miserable. I realized that was not the kind of life for me as working in a factory. So I came in here as a tech, and then I was started to transition into a superintendent role. And then Trey approached me about needing somebody in the foreman role. So at first I was hesitant. I was like, oh, I think I want to do this. And then he talked me into it. He twisted my arm. So so I took the foreman role, and I just really delegate all the carpenters. I do a lot of like the material procurement, all the bathroom hardware, stuff like that. I order all the heavy equipment and stuff, or any equipment we use. I typically order it for job sites, and I stay in contact with all the superintendents throughout the week, and just whatever they need that we do that's in our boxes, like self-performed tasks or whatever, then I just delegate the guys who's like the more competent ones, or the ones who are better at a certain task. I decide who to send where to get jobs done that we have got going on.
And what's the for people who are listening who don't completely understand the construction world, like, why is it so important to have a good foreman at the company and on the job site?
Man, I don't know. If they find a good foreman, I'm sure they'll let me know. I think it's important just because I don't know. I think that we are kind of different. I was talking about it the other day, like as a general contractor, like you have a foreman, they will sit on a job site the whole time. They'll be on one particular job, like with subcontractors. You see electrical foremen, they'll be on that job the whole time. With us, it's a lot different. We could have 10 jobs going on at one time, and I've got to try to keep up with what, as far as our company, and like I said, with the self-performed tasks, I'm not able to sit around on a job. I spend a good bit of time in the office, and I bounce around. Man, I burn the roads up. I'm going job to job all the time, but it's also another thing I do too is, I think it's one of the real important things is I'm like the superintendents, when our carpenters are out there, they're over the job sites, and whatever they need done, that's just what they have to have, what they have to do. But I'm also a buffer between the techs and the superintendents too. That way that I'm like got my feet in both worlds, and that way I can, if I need to, better relay what the superintendent's trying to get across. If there's any animosity or any of them are getting on each other's nerves too. I'm always kind of there to be like, well, we'll just handle it and take care of it. And it's just like I try to be the happy medium between, supers and techs also.
Yeah, and I think in your role too, one of the things I've seen is because you're coming up with the schedule for all the techs and everything, I think it really allows us to take on more projects more successfully, right? Because you kind of know every tech very well, you know what their skills are, you know every job very well, and you know what things they need.
Yeah, I agree. I think so too. And here lately, man, these group of techs that we've got, like they're a great bunch of guys. We have a lot between all the new hires, the few new hires we have or whatever, and the old heads that have been here for a while. I mean, we've got a lot of experience, years and years and years of experience. So I was working on something on the computer a minute ago, and I was like, I've got guys that be like, man, I don't know if they've ever done it or if we've ever done it, but I know that I got some guys that I can send over there and they can do it, and it don't matter. So I think it kind of evolves what our capacity looks like as far as what we can do in-house.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk some about life coaching, and I guess just because, first of all, it's so unique that any company, especially a company our size, would have not one life coach at all, but we have two. But then that's even more unique, I think, in the construction world, and then I think it's even more unique that you would have somebody who's a foreman and a life coach. So how has that been for you? Kind of, I would venture to say you probably don't have a lot of peers out in the world. There's probably not a lot of people who are a foreman and a life coach at a construction company.
Yeah, man, I think it may be. I mean, it might be out there, but like I was thinking about earlier, I think this title might be just. I might be unique to just me if I could think about it, And I kind of struggled in the beginning, like, because some of the guys that I coach are like the carpenters, the techs, and I was like, how does that look like trying to be a life coach and also have an LMA over this guy? I was like, how is that going to work out? And I think it's still something that I'm figuring out how to balance, like being your boss and then being somebody that you can confide in and try to set goals with it, or if you got any kind of thing you're trying to achieve, and we can work at it together, inside or outside of work, personal stuff. Like I had one of the guys when I asked him if he was interested in coaching, and he was like, "Well, I've never done counseling." And I was like, "Whoa, it's definitely not that. I'm definitely not a counselor. And I try to explain it to him like everybody I do it like coaching is. I mean, if you need to come to me and vent for an hour." If I'm the only outlet you've got sometime, then great. I mean, I will be that person. I try to be a great listener, and if it needs to be a listening moment, I'll listen. If you need some input, I'll give you some input. But like coaching is just really like it's goal oriented. Like if you gotta bring it in, you gotta set the pace, and whatever you're trying to achieve, and it's just really like another form of somebody's input, secondary input other than yourself to try to help you achieve goals. That's how I look at it.
But on the other hand, who better to coach a tech than somebody who's been a tech, right?
Right.
And I would imagine a lot of the things that the guys that you're coaching, a lot of things they're dealing with professionally and personally, you've dealt with professionally and personally.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, man, it's so unique to this field too. I grew up, of course, I did residential for years and years in residential framing, but you've got this. There's just like it's almost like a negative connotation around like suck it up, and I got it, this whole I got it mentality, and I think that it's real bad in our field. I mean, I still do it every day. Like one of the things about the foreman role is educating and training, and I'm not the best trainer. That's why we got like Steve's, and we got some guys I think will be great at training people. Like I will be on a job site and working, trying to show somebody how to do something, and they're not grasping it. I'm like, well, just let me do it. And I think that kind of just works into like the mental health side of things too. Like, just suck it
Yeah.
up and tough it up, and you'll be fine. You know.
Yeah, I was thinking about a lot of the values, not just our core values, passion, caring, hustle, detail, but a lot of the things that we value, like mental health and well-being and some of those things. So many of those things, I think, within our company, people coming into our company almost have to unlearn some things, you know, whether it's from the childhood stuff of big boys don't cry kind of
Right.
stuff, or whether it's the early career things. I'm sure you had this too, but you know, when I was starting my career and well into my career, there's sort of this. It's a personal thing with me, I guess, but there's this grind culture that almost celebrates burning yourself out and celebrates not taking care of yourself and putting work above everything else. And I just don't see that here.
Yeah. One of my favorite guys that I watch is I don't have Instagram or anything like that, but he's on TikTok. But he always talks about the mindset. He'd like do skits with the blue collar workers, and he's always like, "Oh man, I worked. These 50-hour weeks are killing me. 50 hours." And he dresses up. He's like, "Man, I worked 188 hours this week, and my truck wouldn't even had to walk to snow both ways." And you know, and it's like in this field, a lot of times people like they glorify
Yeah.
like overdoing it, you know, and
There's like a weird sort of pride in running yourself into the
yeah,
ground.
yeah. Oh, you only worked 60 hours. I worked 120, and you know, and it's I mean, I like to live my life, you know, so I get up and grind, but I'm not. I leave it at work, and I don't want to have to work 60, 70 hours a week to have to provide, you know. I got other things in life I enjoy doing.
I think the thing that finally convinced me was I read a study where I think it's after about 45 to 50 hours a week, it's all diminishing returns. You know, like that's when more mistakes are made. That's when, you know, you have your employee retention drops. You know, that's when you just can't. No, I mean, there's rare people everywhere, but most people, you're not going to be as effective after you reach a certain number of hours a week.
And then if you're paid hourly, I mean, and then you jump a whole nother tax bracket too. So it's like, I work at Bridgestone, I'd work a few extra days, like they'd mandatory overtime there, and I'd be like, man, I could have worked like half a day overtime and made just a little bit less than this right here. You know,
Yeah.
it's funny.
Well, so on our last episode, we talked to Jason Tigg, our safety coordinator, and we were talking about how construction is one of the least safe industries. I think I wanted to talk to you about, as a life coach and somebody who I know personally and professionally values mental health and wellness and those kinds of things. I feel like not just I feel like the data would tell you construction is also one of the industries with the highest levels of stress. You know, I think typically places less emphasis on some of the things we place a great emphasis on, like mental health and well-being. Is it tricky to, like you said, you know, one person's like, I don't want to do counseling. Is it tricky to even begin that discussion with people sometimes here?
Sometimes, yeah. Like I said before, another thing that's really big in this industry too, and I'm not so much that I'm saying that it's here, but like we talk about stress and addiction and self medicating. You know, like I've seen it coming from residential. I mean, that's why most people go into doing residential construction. It's like, well, there's no drug tests, and I can live my life. Well, they're all self medicating, and it's all unhealthy. It all stems from unhealthy, either mental stuff or more deep seated stuff that's just going on through their core. You know, So it's awkward to kind of have that conversation, even to put it out there like, hey, have you considered like a counselor or, going to therapy? Because most people are like, therapy, I'm not doing that. I'll fix it myself. That ego kind of always jumps in, especially in this line of work. But I'm always one to, I'll always type of person to just kind of stay with some of mine too. So I don't mind awkward situations either. So I'll be like, I don't know, maybe you need some help. I'm not trying to take your inventory in life, but you should probably seek some help. It might help you out more than I can.
Well, and professionally, we're also, I think, unique in that we really want to know, like, where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes, even for me, like, we use a program called EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System, and we have within that what's called a VTO, which is our Vision Traction Organizer. People listening can Google all that stuff, but we have a VTO as a company, but we also encourage everybody to have your own personal VTO. And when they were like, hey, you should do your personal, I was like, nobody's ever been like, I really want to know how much money you want to make 10 years from now, what you want to be doing, what you want your job to look like, all those kinds of things. So sometimes it's tricky to have that conversation because people have never had it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know.
Well, like me, I never thought about it. Like I lived day to day. I was the kid that when they asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I had no idea. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Like today, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. But it gives you an opportunity to kind of try to focus. Like, man, what would I like to be doing in 5 years? 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. I don't know. This company it's a unicorn for sure, and for them to really care, like, hey, where do you see yourself doing this, or to bring in to start with a wellness program, like you, and I kind of get the ideas how I look at it, like the best employees we can have are the best people who are their best personally, So if you're doing 100% personal and life is doing great, then you're going to be more productive and be doing better at work. I loved like when Holly first came in and they were like, I'm going to jump on this life coaching train because I need to get my crap together, for sure.
Yeah, and what would you say? I said because I want you to talk a little bit more about that because I think you nailed something right there, which is like, if I'm doing better personally, I'm going to do better professionally. If I'm doing better professionally, that's going to benefit me back personally, and it's sort of this cycle that feeds on itself. And then if all of us, all 30, 31 of us are doing better personally and professionally, the company's going to do better. The company's doing better, our clients benefit. But I feel like what's interesting about the way we do things is we start with that one employee and be like, hey, what can we help you with?
Yeah.
We're very good, I feel like, at zooming in.
Yeah, but it kind of takes it down to the just the bones of it, like start with the person and that's going to evolve all the way to the top, All this text, you're holding them up like Simba on the side of the bluff, and just it's a whole circle of life coming in. There's a lot of...
Wait, who would that make you? Who's the...
Rafiki?
Yeah, you're Rafiki?
Rafiki?
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
Rafiki.
that's Rafiki.
The new nickname.
That's right. That's right, yeah. But I think it speaks volumes about the company to be like, let's get to the bones of it. Let's get the tech or the foreman or the whatever, whatever role you're in, just let's get them healthy and happy. And, because when you look at our wellness stuff, it's not just, we want to look, how's your physical health? How's your mental health? How's your social? It's got all these little ticks underneath it that like, and I think it gives people the ability to kind of focus on those things that you wouldn't really think about. Like, how am I doing socially? Like, how am I physically doing, man, I'm sore. I need to get them stretched. You know, like that's what I was thinking. I'm just saying that because that is specific to me the last few days. I'm like, I've got to maybe some Pilates or something, man. I gotta get flexible. But they care about it, you know, and that caring, it just goes to just how much they just love everybody that works here, you know.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's cliche, and everybody's a big family here, and it is like it is genuine. Like I feel like it's my second family, and I have people that, of course, you know, they're like my brothers that also want to give a noogie and swirly too, but yeah, this place is. I've been blessed to be here, and I never would have thought, you know, 6 years ago, that if you'd said I was a life coach, you know, and the only reason they gave me that opportunity, you know, Joey, I'll never forget the day that Joey and Trey approached me about it. I was like, okay, but y'all are serious. Oh, okay, wow, yeah, I'm interested. That'd be great. You know, I never thought I'd be getting paid to. I told somebody the other day, I get paid to do what I got in trouble in high school for. That's what you know, and that's run my mouth a lot, really. I love it.
Well, we appreciate you running your mouth with us.
Oh yeah,
here today. Anytime, and I might take you up on that because there's a few other things I think we could get to. But, man, appreciate everything you do for the company. Appreciate you coming on the podcast, and appreciate you guys for listening. If you want to learn more about Dow Smith, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or you can check us out at dowsmith.com. Thanks for listening.